Hi guys, Casper MMA here, and today we're back with another UFC prediction video on the channel. Today giving my predictions for UFC Fight Night, Ulberg versus Reyes. So UFC is back this week in Perth, Australia. It's an okay card, quite a few fighters that haven't really been in the UFC before, not that good. But the last UFC card was the UFC Noche. I didn't actually make a prediction video for it because I just wasn't that confident on a lot of picks, and I was right not to make a video because I picked Gene Silva. I thought he was going to KO. Which is faced Lopez, but Lopez got the job done. I was very happy, and it wasn't a bad card. But before I get into my predictions today, make sure you guys are new around here and you're enjoying this content, you go down below and hit that subscribe button. It's free and it's really appreciated. So there's quite a few fights on this card, 14 in total. So we kick things off with the first prelim of Lookboonmee versus Thainara. Now, actually a decent women's fight, to be fair. Both of these women are quite good. Lookboonmee is 10-3. At the minute, she's currently on a 4-fight winning streak in the UFC. Pretty good. She's beat some alright opponents in there as well. Nothing special really. But I mean, she's only had a couple. She's had 7 wins and 2 losses in the UFC. So she is a decent fighter. Thainara is a Brazilian woman, 12-1 in total. Her only loss coming to Bruna Brazil, who is also a UFC fighter. I think Lookboonmee has actually beat her before. But since then, she's had quite a lot of wins. Just beat Molly McCann in her first UFC fight. Got the rear naked choke in that fight. Won the contender series as well. So she looks good. She's got quite a few wins by submission in her career. The rest by decision. So honestly, can see either of these women winning. To be honest, it's a good matchup. But I'm going to back Lookboonmee to get the job done. The Thai woman. I think Thainara could probably get the submission win maybe, but I'm going to back it going to decision and Lookboonmee getting the job done. And now we move up the card to Brando Peričić versus Ellison. Now, both these guys, unranked heavyweights, both making their UFC debut in this fight. Peričić is 4-1, Australian man. I'm not sure if he's fully Australian because his name's the Balkan Bear, so I'm guessing he has roots elsewhere. But currently, he's only had 1 loss in his career. That was to a rear naked choke for the title and Hex or whatever that promotion is. But around that, he's had 4 finishes, 4 all in the first round, 3 by KO, 1 win by submission. His opponent, Ellison, is an American man, 5-1 record. All 5 of his wins have come by finish as well. And pretty much all of them in round number 1 as well. So both these guys, getting a job done early. He's had 1 loss, 2 submission as well. So both these guys, pretty similar records really, pretty similar fighters. Both coming off the regional scene to the UFC. So I'm going to pick one of them, and I think that Peričić is going to get this done. I mean, I honestly, either of them probably going to get the KO. Could go decision. It could be a boring fight, but I'm going to back one of them getting a KO since literally all of their fights have been finishes. So I'm going to back Peričić to get the KO. Now moving up the card to Luana Carolina versus Michelle Montague. Now Luana Carolina is a Brazilian woman, 11-4. Currently on a decent run actually. She's got 3 wins in a row. Hasn't fought this year yet though. She just beat Lucy Pudilova, who actually I don't think is in the UFC anymore. I'm sure she's in Octagon. But she's lost a couple of times as well in the UFC. Lost to Molly McCann by KO, but she's been here a while. She's 6-3 in total, so got not a bad record really. Michelle Montague on the other hand is a 6-0 New Zealand woman. I think she's just come from the PFL. Yes, she has, and Bellator and stuff. And all 6 of her fights have all came by wins by rear naked choke. It's quite funny to see, especially on Tapology, because literally every fight has been rear naked choke, all in different rounds to be fair. But she looks good. I mean, she's obviously good at a submission game. She gets it done a lot. So and pretty much all the amateur career ended by submission as well. So I think, honestly, it's the first fight in the UFC. Carolina's been here before, fought a lot of decent opponents, but for the meme, I've just got to back Montague to win by submission, and specifically rear naked choke. Now we move up the card to Colby Thicknesse versus Josias Musasa. Now Thicknesse is a 7-1 Australian man. Did lose in his first fight in the UFC to Toporia's brother Alexandra, I don't know how you say his name, but Before that, he was 7-0, had a decent record, but he did come up against a pretty decent opponent, to be fair, in his first fight. Two good prospects there, Tafa and Thicknesse. But around that, yeah, apart from his one loss, he does look pretty good. Wasn't a free fight win streak coming into the UFC before that fight. His opponent, Musasa, he's 8-1, Democratic Republic of Congo man. He looks pretty good. I mean, he's nicknamed the KO Wizard. I mean, he's got 7 wins in total by KO, 1 win by decision. I mean, he won on the contender series by split decision, and then came to the UFC and got beat by Carlos Vera by rear naked choke. I mean, I don't know what the odds were for that fight, but Carlos Vera must have been a big underdog because he's coming against like 8-0. Musasa got beat there, fraud checked in a way, and yeah, lost that fight. So I do think that obviously Musasa is dangerous and could get the KO, but his last 2 fights, he's won a split decision and been submitted. So I'm going to back Thicknesse to come back in this fight and win by decision. Now, moving up the card, we have Jamie Mullarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Now, Mullarkey, 17-8 in total. He's currently 5-6 in the UFC. He's not been doing well. Last 2 fights, he's been KO'd, both from round number 1 as well. I mean, he has a few wins, decent wins as well, to be fair, in his career. I mean, beat like Prado, Johnson, Magny recently in the last couple of years, but then has been KO'd a few times as well. So, honestly, Mullarkey, not the greatest fighter in the world, really. Rolando Bedoya, on the other hand, also isn't that great either. I mean, he came to the UFC, hasn't won a fight yet. He's lost 3 fights, lost his first fight by split decision, then lost 2 fights in a row by unanimous decision. Has been fighting alright opponents like Jai Herbert and Chaos Williams, Kenan Song. They're all like well-known names, but they're all not the greatest opponents really in the world. And before that, I mean, he has got some good wins. He looks decent on the regional scene, but he's not done too well in the UFC. So honestly, don't know what this fight's going to do. Either of these guys could win. They're both shit enough, but I'm going to back Mullarkey to actually get a win here. And I reckon Mullarkey can get the win by decision. And now we move up the card to Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliott. Now, this is a fun fight. Micallef is 8-1. He's an Australian prospect. He looks good. Won 3 fights in a row. Only had 1 loss in his career. That was a KO in a Hex fight series. Lost in round number 4. But around that, he's got some good wins. Came to the UFC. Won on the contender series. Then beat Kevin Doucette by decision. I wasn't expecting that. And he actually sent Doucette to the PFL, I think now. I don't know if he got cut or just left or whatever. But he's now fighting Oban Elliott, who is 12-3 Welshman. Was looking really good at one point. Was on a good run in the UFC. He had 3 wins in a row. Knocked out Basil Hafez as well. But then got shown up in his last fight against Seok-Hyun Ko, the Korean man. Ko was just so much faster than him. Looked a lot better in that fight. And yeah, I didn't know what happened there for Oban Elliott. But this should be a fun fight. Both these guys are pretty good fighters. So I don't know who to back here. Oban Elliott didn't look great in his last fight, but he has looked good in his surrounding fights. And Micallef is a decent fighter as well. So I'm going to back Micallef to get this job done in his home country. I'm going to back him to get the decision. And now we move up the card to Andre Petroski versus Cam Rouston. Now, Petroski is a 13-4 American man, 34 years of age. He's alright, to be fair. I mean, he has got some interesting losses on his career. I mean, like the KO loss he lost to Malkoon was so interesting. He basically got KO'd himself going for the takedown there. But then after that, he did bounce back with 3 wins in a row over Fremd, Budka and Vieira. He's a boring fighter though, isn't he? Because like all his wins by decision, he's looked like, I mean, he's good, but he's not the most exciting fighting style. And then he lost his last fight to Edmund Shabazian, which isn't great really. But his opponent, Cam Rouston, on the other hand, is a 12-3 Australian man. Is coming off a win on the contender series. Second time on there. He lost to Torres Finney originally, and then went away, got some wins, and then came back and KO'd Brandon Holmes this year. That was literally last month. So he's turned it around, got a fight in the UFC against Petroski, but I feel like it's too high of a thing for him, too high of a fight. I think Petroski, although he's not the best fighter in the world, not the most exciting, I feel like Petroski's going to get this job done by decision. And now, moving up the card to Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato. Now, Interesting fight, this one. Navajo Sterling, undefeated prospect, 7-0 at the minute. Has won 2 fights since, coming from the Contender Series. Both wins coming by decision, which kind of doesn't match like his record before the UFC, where he got quite a few KOs. I think it was like 4 KOs in a row before the including the Contender Series fight. But then he beat Too Good to Cost by decision and Ivan Erslan by decision as well. His opponent Rodolfo Bellato has had a pretty interesting last fight. He's 12-2 now in total. His last fight was against Paul Craig, when he faked being out to something. Always an up kick from Paul Craig. Then Bellato fell around on the floor and pretended he was out. That was interesting. Trying to get DQ, got no contest instead. That was quite funny. But had a draw to Jimmy Crute before that, and then beat Petroski in the UFC. So he's had 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 no contest now. Bellato, I feel like honestly, he could win against Sterling here. I think he's not the worst fighter, but if any fight Sterling's going to get a KO in, it's definitely this fight. I mean, he's had 2 decision wins in a row, but I feel like he could get back to his finishing ways, and Sterling wins by KO. And now we move up the card to where Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. Now, Tom Nolan, the 9-1 Australian man, 25 years old, only 1 loss, coming to Nicholas Motta. That was his first UFC fight off the Contender Series, but that was a fluke win there for Motta, because since then Nolan's bounced back, got a KO himself, then won 2 wins by decision, just beating Borshev in his last fight in February this year. So I do think Nolan is a pretty good fighter. Charlie Campbell, on the other hand, is a 9-2 American man. Also, not a bad run, to be fair, on a 3-fight winning streak as well. Got a win over Trevor Peake in the UFC in his last fight. KO'd Alex Reyes as well before that. So he is good. He's 1 loss recently, came to Chris Duncan on the Contender Series, but Duncan is a pretty good opponent, so it's not the worst age loss in the world. So this should be a fun fight. Both these guys are pretty good. I do like both of them, so I'm just going to have to back Nolan. I just feel like he's the up-and-coming prospect, 25 years old, good records. I like him, so I'm going to back Nolan to win by decision. And now we move up to another heavyweight fight on the card. Louie Sutherland versus Justin Tafa. Now, I didn't even know this fight was happening. Louie Sutherland is a Scottish man, 10-3 record. I mean, he looks decent, to be fair. I mean, he's fought in some other promotions, so like not showing the level of competition he's really been fighting. But he has quite a few wins. 8 wins by KO, 2 wins by decision. Has lost by decision a couple of times before to people like in the PFL and Bellator, so like actual decent opponents. But he does look something like a 4-fight win streak at the minute, of 2 wins coming in round 1 by KO, so he looks alright. Justin Tafa, on the other hand, is the Australian man. His record is 7-5 now. That's kind of crazy. I didn't know it was that bad, but he's not great, is he really? He KO'd, like, he's got a few KO wins, like obviously Parker Porter KO'd him, and then KO'd Austin Lane as well, which, I mean, who hasn't at this point? But then he lost to Carl Williams by decision, and then got KO'd by Talis Teixeira in his last fight in February. So honestly, he probably will win this fight, because it's Sutherland's first UFC fight, and Tafa's clearly fought like better opponents and stuff, got more experience in the UFC. But I've just got to back Sutherland, really. I mean, he's a Scottish man. Tafa's just a bit naffing. He's not that great. So I'm going to back Sutherland, come in here and win by decision. And now, moving up the card to where Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. Now, Jake Matthews, 22-7, Australian man. He's had quite a few fights, to be fair, 30 in total. On a 3-fight win streak at the minute. His last loss was to Michael Morales, who is still like undefeated, so he's not the worst loss to have. Around that, he's got a choke over Flowers, beat Phil Rowe, beat Prado, then just subbed Enjikani. So he is good. Matthews is currently 15-7 in the UFC. He's been around a while, only 31 to first, so he's had a lot of fights for his age. His opponent, Neil Magny, also a man with a lot of fights, 30-13 in total, 38 years old now, but he's still kicking. Got the win over Zaleski in his last fight, got the KO in round number 2. I think I might have predicted Zaleski to win that, because Magny, he's hit or miss really. He sometimes pulls off like a great win, or he just like gets KO'd or something. Like he got KO'd against Prates and Morales, back-to-back in round number 1. Beat my lot, obviously, which is crazy. And then, you know, he's just your average fighter, and Neil Magny, he's just there. I don't think he's going to win this one. I feel like Matthews is going to win this one with the winning streak. Matthews is going to come in here, and I reckon Matthews can get the submission. And now, moving up the card to Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Taveras. Now, Jack Jenkins, currently 13-4, 31 years old, has had an interesting UFC career. Did win 2 in a row to start it off, then lost to Chepe Mariscal, which was that weird. He had like an arm injury, something like he got like slammed down or something, then broke his arm or something like that. It was not like a actual loss really. Then he beat Herbert Burns in one of like the most Herbert Burns is the most shocking fight I've ever watched. He's so bad. God knows how that guy's ever got a win in the UFC. But then he lost to Gabriel Santos in his last fight, got submitted. So he's had a few wins, a few losses as well, 3-2 in total. Ramon Taveras is a 10-3 American man. There's a lot of fights on this card originate from the Contender series. It's doing all right. He lost to CD, I don't know how to say his name, on the Contender series. Got a win on the Contender series after that. Then beat CD in the UFC by decision, split one. Then lost to Davey Grant in his last fight. So realistically, he's not really fought that many people. He's fought the same guy twice in the space of like a couple of years. Then lost to Davey Grant, beat Romulus, who's it was a pretty decent win, to be fair. But honestly, this fight can go either way. I think either of these guys could win by decision. Not sure there's going to be a finish in this fight, to be honest. But you never know. It's UFC. But I'm just going to back Jenkins here. I just feel like he's the better fighter. And I reckon Jenkins wins by decision. Now, moving up to the co-main event. Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Erslan. Now, I don't know how this is the co-main event. I don't know if it's like just topology being stupid. But this is the worst co-main event I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there is not much to choose from on this card, to be honest, though. But Jimmy Crute, 13-4 and 2. Australian man, 29 years old now. What an interesting record he has. I mean, he won his last fight over Peričić. Managed to get the submission in round number 1. Well done, mate. Has 2 draws in his last 4 fights. 1 loss to Manyfield, who he also drew with before that. Got killed by Jamal Hill. Lost to Anthony Smith. Has some good wins early in his UFC career. Paul Craig, Alvey, Olizashuk, Bakauskas. But recently, he's not been so good. On his opponent, Ivan Erslan, is 14-5, a Croatian man. I actually just got back from Croatia, been there for a week. But that's why I didn't make any videos last week for any of the cards. But he's an alright fighter. Came to the UFC from KSW. Lost to Kutalaba by split decision. It was an impressive fight, to be fair. Thought he looked good in that fight. Then lost to Navaja Sterling, who is also on this card. Lost that fight by decision. But outside of the UFC, he's got many KOs. He's got 10 KOs in total. A couple of decisions and 1 submission win in there. So he's a good fighter. Just has fought some decent opponents in the UFC so far. So this fight, both of these guys aren't great really, are they? But I'm going to have to back Erslan to get this job done. I think he's going to get his first win in the UFC, and I reckon he's going to KO. Now, moving up to the main event. Carlos Ulberg versus Dominick Reyes. Now, great fight. I love this. Carlos Ulberg, 12-1, New Zealand man, on a very good run. Probably going to fight for the title soon. He's only lost, obviously, was to Eza Chukwut in his first UFC fight. But since then, he's came back, tried to prove that was a fluke, and he's doing well. I mean, he's won back-to-back decisions over Ozdemir and Jan Blachowicz. KO Manyfield before that. I mean, he's got quite a few finishes in the UFC, to be fair to him. And he looks good. I mean, he's a good fighter. Dominick Reyes on the advance, 15-4. On a great run. I'm loving it at the minute. I keep making money on him recently. I mean, I backed him to like KO Krylov because he was the underdog in that fight somehow. Backed him to KO like Jacoby as well. He was the underdog in that. I don't know how people aren't betting on Reyes, but they're just down him, man. Because he was obviously so good until he fought John Jones, that horrible decision. Then lost 3 in a row after that by KO, and then he's doing well. 3 wins in a row, all by KO. I mean, this is what I like to see. A Dominick Reyes title run in 2025 is what we're all here for. At 35 years old, I mean, he's just doing a prayer. He's just a late starter for the title. You know, he's been there before. He's going to come back. And if Reyes wins this, I will love him, man. It'll be so good if he manages to pull this off. I mean, I think it's like 6 a.m. probably in the UK, so I'll be like so sleepy. But if he pulls off this win, I'll be wide awake. But being realistic here, I'm gonna have to pick Ulberg to win this one. I'm sad that Dominick Reyes his title run has to end now, but Ulberg should probably win this one by decision. So there are my picks for UFC Perth this weekend. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. And that's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, maybe leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.